Shin Lim is an amazing magician who excels in card manipulation and sleight of hand techniques. In this video, we will be witnessing his incredible magic trick performed during his AGT auditions. We'll also uncover the secrets behind this fantastic magic. If you enjoy the video, be sure to show your support by liking it. In this act, Shin Lim takes the stage, and the show's host, Tyra Banks, is also present on the stage. Magician Shin spreads a deck of cards in front of her and invites Tyra to choose a card. The card she chooses turns out to be the Queen of Spades. Shin then asks Tyra to write her name on the chosen card. Shin then places that card back into the middle of the deck. With just one swift motion over the deck, he magically brings the signed Queen of Spades to the top of the deck. Afterwards, Shin takes the card in his right hand and moves it under his shirt, right above his chest. When he turns the card around, the signed Queen of Spades magically transforms into a blank card. After that, Shin reveals his chest, surprising everyone as a Queen of Spades tattoo appears on his chest. However, in the next moment, with a swift gesture from Shin, the signed Queen of Spades card reappears in his mouth. Shin then takes the card back into his hand and seamlessly inserts it into the deck. Shin moves his hand over the deck, and in the blink of an eye, it changes from blue to red. Shin then spreads the deck on the table, revealing that the Queen of Spades card in the middle is blue, while the rest of the deck has turned red. Afterwards, Shin takes the deck back into his hand, and miraculously, it turns blue again. Now, Shin hands the signed Queen of Spades card to Tyra. However, he takes the blank card from the table, shakes it in his hand, and astonishingly, it transforms into the signed Queen of Spades card. Tyra opens her hand, expecting to find the Queen of Spades card, but instead, there's only a blank card. Now, Shin places both cards on the table and starts spreading the deck he's holding, creating an image of an arrow by combining the cards. Shin then flips the two cards on the table, and they both transform into blank cards. Following this, Shin picks up an envelope from the table and, upon opening it, reveals another card inside. And when Shin reveals this card, it turns out to be the same signed Queen of Spades. Now, Shin places it into the deck, and in the next moment, the entire deck transforms into a transparent deck. Within this transparent deck, the Queen of Spades card is still present. Shin hands this card to Tyra, who with her own hands inserts it back into the transparent deck. Now, Shin places the entire deck on the table and asks Tyra to cover it with her hand. Suddenly, smoke starts emanating from under Tyra's hands, and when Tyra lifts her hand, the deck transforms into a solid one. Finally, Shin takes this deck from Tyra and puts it in the cover, but the next moment, the cover is empty. Everyone is left astonished. How did it all happen? How does a single Queen of Spades card keep changing its place? How does the deck turn into a transparent one and then, in the blink of an eye, into a solid one? Now, we are going to uncover all these secrets. Before we proceed, if you enjoyed this amazing magic act by Shin Lim, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more magic reveals like this. Now, let's dive into the secrets behind this magic. In this act, Shin first spreads the card deck in front of Tyra on the table and invites her to choose a card. Here, it's crucial for Tyra to select the Queen of Spades because Shin has already tattooed the Queen of Spades card on his chest. To confirm this, we can see Shin Lim's this tattoo on the pre-show event. But with so many cards available, how does the magician ensure that Tyra picks the Queen of Spades? Actually, in reality, all the cards in the deck are Queen of Spades. Shin doesn't have the deck checked by anyone, nor does he show the other side of the cards. He spreads them directly on the table, ensuring that any card Tyra chooses will be the Queen of Spades. Now, the magician asks Tyra to write her name on the chosen card and places it back into the deck held in his hand. Actually, if you look closely, as soon as Tyra chooses the card, the magician swiftly gathers the cards and holds them in his hand. While Tyra is writing her name on the chosen card, Shin cleverly exchanges the deck containing all Queen of Spades cards with another deck placed behind the table. If you observe this exchange deck closely, you can notice a crease in the middle. In reality, this deck is somewhat like this, with a flap card placed on top. This single card has a front part that creates the illusion of many cards when viewed from the front. The face of the flap card is the Queen of Spades. Below this card is 2 blank cards. Beneath that is a random blue card, and below that are all red cards. With the help of this gimmick deck, the magician is set to perform some upcoming tricks. In reality, when Shin inserts Tyra's signed card into the deck after she signs it, he's actually placing it beneath this flap card. But due to the flap card, it appears as if the signed card is being inserted into the middle of the deck. Moreover, this flap card can be folded from the front. After inserting the signed card into the deck, Shin makes a right-hand move over it, simultaneously folding the flap card in half and pressing down the remaining flap. Doing this makes half of the signed card beneath the flap card visible, and this half is actually part of the flap card. However, overall, it creates an illusion as if the signed Queen of Spades card magically rose to the top of the deck. Afterwards, the magician lifts the signed card with his right hand, but remember, there was a flap card on top of it. If we go back a bit, Shin cleverly drops that flap card behind the table. Now, only the signed card is left on top, and Shin smoothly picks it up with his right hand. But here, Shin doesn't just pick up the signed card with his right hand. He picks up 2 cards from the top. One is the signed Queen of Spades, and the other is a blank white card. He skillfully takes 2 top cards into his right hand, and you can even notice that blank card here. Now, Shin moves the card behind his shirt onto his chest, and in the next moment, the card he holds in his hand turns blank, while the face of the card appears on his chest. However, as you know, this tattoo was already on his chest from the beginning. Moreover, now you're aware that Shin has 2 cards in his hand. One is the blank card, and the other is the signed Queen of Spades. Shin cleverly uses his left hand to grab the Queen of Spades card from behind his shirt, leaving the blank card in his right hand. In this way, with a masterful reveal of the tattoo and the blank card, Shin astonishes everyone. After that, Shin places the blank card on the table, and magically, the signed Queen of Spades card appears in his mouth. Now, you know that he had hidden this card behind his shirt with his left hand, and he deftly brings it to his mouth, creating a magical effect. Following this, Shin once again performs a right-hand move over the deck he's holding, and suddenly, the deck changes from blue to red. As you're aware, the deck had a specific setup, and now these 3 cards are already used and are removed from this setup. So, now the deck consists of a blank white card and a random blue card on top and all the red cards below. After placing the Queen card back into the deck, Shin deftly executes a right-hand move, smoothly pulling a red card from the bottom. It looks something like this. If you observe closely, you can notice him sliding a red card with his left hand from the bottom to his right hand and then to the top of the deck, creating the illusion that the entire deck has transformed from blue to red. But now you know that only the top card was blue and the rest of the deck was red from the beginning. By deftly bringing a red card from the bottom to the top, Shin amazes everyone with this incredible act. Afterwards, Shin spreads the entire deck on the table, and in the middle appears the Queen of Spades card, while the rest of the deck remains red. If you pay attention, Shin doesn't spread the last few cards, as there is a blue card among them. After that, he gathers the spread cards on the table again, but this time, the deck transforms from red to blue once again. For this, Shin simply slides the top red card back to the bottom. It gives the illusion that the entire deck has transformed from red to blue again. After this, Shin places the signed Queen of Spades card between Tyra's hands and takes the blank card from the table into his right hand. In the next moment, the blank card magically transforms into the Queen of Spades card. But how? The card was between Tyra's hands, right? In reality, the Queen card was never given to Tyra. Shin skillfully switches the blank card on top of the deck with the Queen card, using a sleight of hand when he's about to present the Queen card to Tyra. With sleight of hand, Shin cleverly changes the queen card with this blank card and hands this blank card to Tyra. Now, the blank card placed on the table is picked up by Shin with his right hand. But here it's not only a blank card in his hand, behind it is the Queen of Spades card, which Shin smoothly takes it into his hand right before picking up the blank card. Then, with a shake, he flips the card, and the Queen of Spades card appears in front, creating the illusion that the blank card has transformed into the Queen of Spades. After that, if you observe, Shin brings this queen card near the deck and then gestures to Tyra to open her hand. In reality, since Shin still has the blank card behind the queen card in his hand, he cleverly incorporates it into the deck at this point. Then, he signals Tyra to open her hand, and as you already know, a blank card had been given to Tyra from the beginning. Tyra is left shocked, but now you know the full secret behind it. Afterwards, Shin takes the blank card from Tyra's hand and places it on the table along with the queen's card. However, in the next moment, when Shin flips these two cards, they both turn blank and the queen card disappears. Shin then spreads bottom cards from the deck he's holding on the table, creating an image like this. In reality, as I told you before, the magician stays one step ahead of the audience. And here, after transforming the blank card into the queen card, if you observe Shin's left hand moving back, you'll see that he once again cleverly switches the entire deck behind the table with another deck. Now, this switch deck looks something like this. At the top of the deck is a queen card with a blank white back. At the bottom are 12 image cards, and in the middle are transparent plastic cards. Before placing the blank card and queen card on the table, Shin takes the signed queen card into the deck. The other queen card from the top of the deck, which has a white back on the other side, is taken into his right hand. Therefore, the queen card you see on the table is not the signed queen card. That's why Shin has cleverly positioned the blank card on top of it. Now, Shin spreads the 12 cards on the table, and as you know, these cards at the bottom are image cards, creating an arrow-like image when spread. Shin then uses another flip technique here, and both cards magically turn blank. However, you know now that one of these is the blank card, and the other is the gimmick queen card that is flipped, revealing its white side. After this, Shin takes an envelope placed on the table, opens it, and reveals the signed queen card inside. In reality, let me share another secret about this queen card. In the beginning, when Tyra is asked to select a card, all of them are queen cards, and each of these cards has a very thin magnet planted inside it. Now, the envelope that Shin picks up from the table is a nested envelope, meaning there is a cut on the backside. Shin never reveals the backside of this envelope. You can observe Shin passing the envelope over the deck when he picks it up. By doing this, the signed queen card from the deck, which has a magnet inside, gets stuck to the backside of the envelope using the magnet. In this way, Shin opens the envelope without revealing its backside, and the signed queen card emerges, leaving everyone astonished. Shin places it back into the deck and then makes the entire deck transparent, with the queen card appearing at the end. As you know, the deck had a specific setup, a gimmick queen card on top, which Shin has already utilized and is now on the table, followed by 12 image cards at the bottom, also used and now on the table, and the rest are transparent cards. Shin reveals these transparent cards, creating the illusion that the entire deck has become transparent. The blue card from the top of the deck is still at the back here, and as Shin puts it back, he smoothly slides this blue card behind this deck. This way, everyone perceives that the entire deck has become transparent. After this, Shin hands the signed queen card to Tyra, asking her to place it between the deck. Then, he puts the entire deck on the table and instructs Tyra to cover it with her hand. Right after that, smoke starts to emerge from under Tyra's hand, and when she removes her hand from the deck, the plastic cards have transformed into a solid block. In the midst of this, Tyra's signed queen card is also present. In reality, after extracting the queen card from the transparent cards and handing it to Tyra, if you observe Shin's left hand, you'll notice it moving behind the table, where Shin discreetly drops the transparent deck he was holding into a bag. And from here, Shin picks up another solid transparent block, which has a slit in the middle. If you observe closely when Shin instructs Tyra to insert the card, he directs his hands towards that slit. Also, you can notice the card doesn't go in easily. After placing the card into this solid block, Shin puts it on the table and asks Tyra to cover it with her hands. The smoke that emerges from under the table is actually produced by a vape device beneath, operated by Shin with his feet. Later, when Shin lifts the card, this solid block appears instead of a transparent deck, and now you know the secret behind this magic. Shin places this block into the cover, but when the box is handed to Tyra, it is completely empty. In reality, the cover in which Shin places the solid deck is open from the bottom, and right after cleverly putting the solid deck into the cover, Shin discreetly drops it beneath the table. This is how Shin astounds everyone with his incredible magic act. And now you also know the secrets behind this magic. We work hard to bring you such videos, so please do like the video. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications for all upcoming videos.